Hello and welcome to RGDS, your retro gaming discussion show. Here we chat about the heady days when gaming was all about fun, not microtransactions or wringing the player out of their hard-earned money. Although I have to say, actually, some of these games we're about to discuss, you could argue they were coin guzzlers. Anyway, it's Paul Driscoll here, aka the Drisk, and joining me is the Hagar of podcast hosting. Yes, it's Jonathan King. How are you, buddy? How's things?
Yeah, I'm good. It's obviously always good to do a podcast with you, Drish.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while. It's good to have you back on.
Yeah. We just have to every now and again, once or twice a year, catch up and do one. I mean, I like to do more, obviously, but life gets in the way. But here I am now. Let's do it.
It's difficult with family, isn't it? It's difficult to get the balance. So, I mean, tell our listeners what you've been up to retro-wise. What things you've been playing and what have you.
Well, as our listeners know, I got myself a lovely arcade cabinet from Craig Turner about 5 or 6 years ago. So my daughter Mia now is at an age where she loves gaming, like loves it. So I'm really trying to use the arcade cabinet as much as possible with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what games does she love? She loves any kind of fighting game. Any kind of fighting game she loves.
How old is Mia now?
6 and a half.
Wow, that's gone fast, isn't it? Yeah.
Mate, has it. But she loves Rampage as well. Anything with destruction, really. Anything where you have to blow something up or kill something, or beat something up, she seems to love. So I don't know what to say. Don't know where she gets that from, if I'm honest. You know.
So what's her favourite one then? What did you say?
Right, so she loves Rampage.
Yeah.
She loves that. But on the cabinet I've got, I don't know if you've ever played it, it's the Streets of Rage remix.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so she loves that. She loves Golden Axe. She loves all the old school kind of Final Fights as well. You know, the one she really loves is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, because that's quite brutal, that game. I never realised that brutal. So I started playing it with her, just thinking, because I'm playing a while myself.
Yeah.
You know, let's put it on for her. Like the Capcom games, I know they're like Alien vs Predator and that, where they're just like top tier. I said, all right, let's play this. And next thing you know, like shotguns, grenades. You've got this dinosaur being chopped to pieces with machetes. I'm like, should she be playing this? And it's like, she didn't even notice.
Yeah. Don't put Punisher on for her then.
Oh, hey, I had a look at that and I thought that looks good, but then I remember playing it years ago. I remember, that's pretty brutal as well. So
actually, you said that. I'm looking at it myself. I picked up when I went to Revival. Sam Dyer, his bitmap books, and he's the Go Straight. So it's basically all the scrolling beat 'em ups in one. Gorgeous
that'd
book.
be really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I just because they, when you go to these retro events, they had it like on special, like on the official sort of like, had a nice discount. But yeah, very very impressive. I mean, he does take it to another level.
Yeah, those books are great. I think I've got the Super Nintendo one. I've got the Master System one because they're the consoles I love growing up.
Yeah.
But something like the one Goes Straight. What would be good about that one? Like you said, the quality of those books are amazing. But what would be good is the problem with these cabinets that you get with the thousands of games on there.
Yeah.
Is you sometimes at a loss of what to play.
Yeah.
Because there's so much on there. So what would be good about a book like that is you can pick it up and what looks good in the pages. And then go from there.
Well, that's something I'm toying with myself as well. We'll come on to obviously I did that Amiga book, but I was thinking of doing something a bit different with like my next like book project, and it is very much that is because I do all this like glorious research, like the like with the Amiga books where you do like pages and pages of research. But I've watched people actually look, and all they do is they look at the game and just glance at the pictures and then go on to the next one. So I was thinking that maybe just go the opposite of like these gorgeous like coffee table books because they're well served, but go cheap like A5 paperback and sort of like just say the games that are worthy of your time. You know what I mean? Like on the arcade.
Suggestions.
Yeah, it's like a curated list.
Five.
Yeah, curated
that'd be a great
list.
idea.
Yeah, so I was thinking, where you just give like 3 to a page, you go the opposite way, but you you get into that. Yeah, because I think people, we live in this wonderful world, isn't it, where you've got like fully loaded emulator devices and arcades and all of this, and we've got every game on the planet. But unless you know, and or you spend a long time playing these Voyager Discoveries, all these games, you're just going to be like Netflix, isn't it? You're just like left like scrolling through and playing lots of rubbish ones.
That's essentially it. So what you could do with that book, Drisky, is like you say, you give what you think would be like the top 10 to play, and then do like a suggestive list. Like these are also honourable mentions, and go down that route, as it
Yeah,
were.
yeah, that might be an idea. Make it even more sort of like curated down. But I mean, one of the things though, if you are thinking of ideas with or to our listeners as well, on our YouTube channel, so RGDS podcast, I did a series of basically what I consider the best arcade games, going each letter A through to Z, and that's quite a good one. You'll find a lot of hidden gems and. Some of the ones we're going to discuss here, but some didn't make my personal list, but that's what's great, because what we've done on this episode, I mean, we'll come into it a little bit more, is basically I've just given John full range of just choose 6 arcade games that you wanted to shout out. Basically, there was no real limit on it all, apart from we hadn't covered it before, wasn't it? That was the only stipulation.
Yeah. Also, what was going through my mind when I chose these games is I stumbled across these through my life playing games, and I just thought they were honourable mentions. Now, one of them on there, I mean, it's pretty out there, and I'm sure some of our listeners have played it. Okay, so when we get to it, it's going to be a right laugh. I'll put one in there to have a complete laugh, basically, but
Yeah.
we'll get to it at the end. But yeah, it was just basically like games are enjoyable that you wouldn't normally, because everyone's got their go-tos, haven't they? Like the classics, and I just thought these ones are something a little bit different, but still worth playing.
Yeah, exactly, and I wouldn't say all of these are like hidden gems. They're gems, or they're unique, isn't it? Some are quite well known to those in the know. A lot of our listeners will know, but that's cool. It's a nice eclectic list. But yeah, I mean, for me, retro wise, what I've been doing. Well, obviously we've had a massive opus of the RGDS top 50 Amiga games with those 2 books that I've. Which I'm looking at. I got them physically printed out, and it's insane how much I've written. I don't know if John, you had a chance to glance through the books yet, or
I haven't, mate. No, sorry. I've been job hunting, but it's on my list to do. But mate, what you've done with those books is nothing short of astounding. So you should be very proud of what you've done there and what you've achieved, honestly.
Yeah, well, I've been really sort of like humbled by people that I mean, not only is all the nice comments from everybody, like universally as well, which is in today's world of the internet, that's quite an achievement in itself, but also I mean, it was only at the end of the book, because I'm like you, I've been made redundant, and I just like stuck in. I was just a voluntary buy me a coffee, and to be honest, just simply because I thought, well, I've got to be sensible. I'm job hunting. I'll just put it in. I'm not expecting anything from it, but I've been blown away by the number of people that just not only taking the time to read it and things, but actually even giving a little donation. It's been truly humbling. It's been wonderful.
Well, you're a well-liked man. Paul, you're a well-liked man, and the work you've put into this speaks volumes, speaks for itself. So I'm expecting a signed copy in the post with maybe a saucy picture of you on the front, please.
I'll put the saucy picture on the inside. Yeah.
Yeah, do that, mate. That's fine.
But it's obviously, although I did like most of the legwork, it wasn't just me. I mean, I want to thank Turnbull, who did the fantastic proofreading of the books. I mean, it was a hell of a task for him, and I probably nearly sent him nearly over the edge, but he did a fantastic job. And Kingy and Rick, obviously they gave their contributions, and then of course the wider retro community that all took the time to give theirs at the back of the book of what games they suggested, and that's a fantastic section of the book. Some really big names. So yeah, I just want to thank I want to thank everybody for taking the time to like look through the books, and the kind comments. And even if it's not like the donation, which is absolutely fine, just help me share it to as many people as possible, because that's really what we're after, isn't it, John? Is to get as many people that perhaps don't know the Amiga to be encouraged to try the Amiga. The amount of American listeners or people dotted around that are like, oh, I don't know the Amiga at all. People in America, they just, even though it's an American company, it didn't do very well over there. It was very much a Europe where it was most popular. And so it's like a complete black hole to them. So they've sort of found it really useful by having that curated list, as we're sort of discussing, of the ones to first try and dip their toes into it all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it, mate. I mean, what you've done there is like you're giving the people the ability to, like you said, just, mate. I'm sure when I read it, when I get around to it, and I promise you that, because it looks fantastic. There's going to be things on there. I loved the Amiga growing up. I had one. There's going to be things on there that I didn't even know. So imagine people that were never exposed to it, what they're being exposed to, as it were. With the retro scene, like, there's things I'm seeing now, like the PC Engine. I never had a PC Engine growing up. I never had a clue what it was about, but I think Mr. Lambourne was waxing lyrical about it so much. I went and brought one, and I was blown away how great it
It's
is.
amazing, isn't it? Yeah, the PC.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So thanks to Mr. Lambourne for that recommendation. But yeah, that book will definitely be bringing more people, not only to us, so they can hear our dulcet tones, but also to the Amiga scene as well.
Yeah, but I mean, and also that we live in this wonderful world, like you're saying with the PC Engine, is, there's fantastic emulators out there, and RetroArch and all of this. There's so many ways to access a lot of these games, and it's one, so you don't even need to, like, the PC Engine, buying the hardware and stuff can be quite pricey and things, but you can, like, dip your toe and try a lot of these games through emulation. So there's many ways to come at it, really.
Yeah, exactly. I know the Amiga emulation can be very tricky sometimes.
It's got a lot easier. I mean, I put at the beginning of the book, I only gave a link to a video, and on our there's been a few questions on our Discord channel, Kingy's given his suggestions and I've given my suggestions. But the way I do it personally, and I've got real hardware and things as well, and the Amiga Mini is fantastic for people because you can actually put your own games on, so that takes a lot of the difficulty with it. But to be honest, I use Launchbox, and I give a video link, the one that I followed, which tells you how to do it. Because have you ever used Launchbox, John?
I haven't, mate, because what I've used in the past is, and to be honest with you,
WinUAE and things like that.
Yeah, and King was very good to me about 3 or 4 years ago. He gave me like a hard drive with, everything I need on there, and I kind of gave up halfway trying to reinstall. Is it what's the typical Amiga one called? It's called,
WinUAE.
That's the one. Yeah, I just gave up on it. But Launchbox, tell me about it, because I would love to be able to do it properly.
I mean, to regular listeners, and apologise to our regular listeners that they might have heard me talk about, because I always wax lyrical about Launchbox. But basically, Launchbox is a front end that you can put loads of emulators against it. So what it does, it immediately scrapes and gets all the artwork. So it'll get the front of the box, the back of the box. You can see all the details about the game. Automatically does it. But you can actually set up RetroArch under the hood, in this instance for the Amiga, for example. And the end result, once it's set up, you just literally double click the box art of whatever game you want to play, and you can, like any database, you can sort it by genre or rating, whatever you want. It doesn't have to be just on title. You just double click it and it starts up. That's all you do. Everything else is taken away, and it uses by default, I mean, you can use ADF, the actual floppies, but it uses by default WHD downloads. So the WHD are little hard drive files that takes away all the disk swapping. So it's almost like playing a console game. You just like literally click it and bang. And the beauty is, because of RetroArch, it will auto pick up all your controllers whatever controller you use. Just takes away all the sting. But yeah, I mean, to you, John, and like the others, at the beginning of, I think it's in both books, but certainly book one, I've just given like a QR code and the link to the tutorial that I followed. That was really easy to follow, step by step. I mean, obviously, it's not going to tell you where to get the actual games from, but I mean, well, let's just say if you search WHD download, you'll probably find it. All the games, but it tells you all that you need to do to set it up, beginning to end. But yeah, Launchbox, I love it. I love it. I mean, I've got every single platform now through Launchbox, because what I love with it is that it's kind of how I used to, how it was for us back in the day. I purposely don't use the big box element of Launchbox, which is the paid element. The Launchbox itself is free. I paid for it, to be honest, but I don't want video. I want it like the old one, because it takes up loads of space and I don't want to waste space. But I actually like the idea of just reading the box and flipping it over and reading the back of the box, because it's like you're going to like a gaming store back in the day, isn't it? You didn't see a video that showed you everything.
Yeah.
So and through there I've found some wonderful discoveries, because you just you just looking through, I don't know, PS2 or other systems, and looking at the cover art and think that looks interesting. I'll give that a go. Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's wonderful that we live in this world. And actually, tying in with that, I've recently installed. Have you ever heard of the project Exodus at all, John?
I haven't.
No. So Exodus, they're up to version 6, which is a big step up. And I'd used it at the beginning, Exodus, but it was a bit buggy and a bit of a mess. It's a huge file. Literally, it's like, if you're going to download the whole thing, there's a light version, which is 5 gig, which isn't so bad. But there's the full version, which I've downloaded, is zipped. It's like 640 gig. And then there's a media collection on top, which gives you all the magazines, which is another like 168. So really, when all's said and done, you need a terabyte of space when you've unzipped it, if you're going for the full thing. But it uses this Launchbox. That's essentially what it does. But they've gone through and done basically every DOS game. So the old PC, PC DOS game that has ever been. There's like 7,648 games or something. And it's all set up correctly with the right ratios, and you can put on things if you want, like to make it CRT if you want it, but even vanilla, and it's great because it's using the power of this Launchbox, but they've put all the effort to get all the artwork and everything. So I've been having an absolute blast playing with that, because PC DOS, although I had a PC in the DOS era, it was right on the cusp, then 3.1 and 95, and there's a lot of games that I'd never played on PC DOS, so it's just wonderful having it all at your fingertips. So I don't know, that will probably interest some of our listeners. One of the tips I will say, because I appreciate it's a big download to do, I mean, I had to clear up a lot of space to fit it on, but one of the things that impressed me is if you go for the light version, so I tried that as well, it's actually quite good, because they built the downloader in it. So if you double click a game and it's not there, it will say, do you want to download it? And it automatically goes off and gets the game and does the installation, and then you can play it. So in some ways the light version is actually a really good way of sort of dipping your toe into it. But I've discovered some amazing games. I mean, can you believe there's even like adventure games back in the day, not fan written, for even like films like Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I never knew there were like a text adventure and stuff for games like that. And there's Rambo the text adventure.
No way, Rambo the text.
Yeah. And these were like genuinely real ones. I mean, I knew some of the ones like James Bond from research in my book, but there's a stack of like amazing ones. And of course you've got all the ones even going up to CD, so it's got all the big hitters, and it's fascinating playing a lot of these first person shooters as well, because it's not only got like the big hitters like Doom and things, but really obscure ones. But even on ones like Doom, they've actually put all the like the fan made ones that you could buy where they collected them up So there's like hundreds and hundreds more, like Doom or Quake or all these other games on the set. It's an amazing thing to our listeners if you want to sort of dip your toe in.
Well, you've convinced me, mate.
Yeah. Right, but shall we go on to the show itself?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I basically gave John free range of this. It was a way to worm back to hosting again. And we just basically thought we wanted something light and breezy after the 4 to 5 hour epics of the Amiga episodes. So we just simply said 6 games and pretty much free range, whatever you choose, 6 arcade games. And these are the ones...
Within reason.
Well, I was going to say in reason. I think one of the ones was beyond reason, but
one of them's definitely beyond reason.
Yeah. But no, I mean, John's come with like quite an interesting list here. Some, Alistair's are going to know. Some you might not know at all. But it's a nice range of genres and things. So I think people will really enjoy. So, shall we go on to our first game?
Let's do it, mate.
Beware, I live.
Right, as you heard by those sound effects and that well-known sound and speech, it is, of course, Sinister. This was made by Williams in 1982, and it's done by designer John Newcomer. Now, he designed and created Joust, and it also, on programming duties, it had RJ Mikal, who, of course, helped design, with the operating system and much of the hardware. And, of course, he did the game Defender of the Crown as well. There were other people involved, like Noah Falstein and Richard Witt, but they're certainly the ones that jumped out at me when talking. I'm going to pass it to you, John, because I've been chatting enough here. Do you want to describe it to our listeners?
Well, when you said I had free reign, I thought I'm going to deliberately put games on here that even myself is quite unfamiliar with, yet have been given good credit. And this one come up quite often. So I chose it and I played it. And to be honest with you, I was very impressed with what I saw from 1982. The first thing that strikes me about this is the synthesized, the digitized voice jumped at me straight away. It took me a while to even try and figure out what to do in the game.
If you don't let it go through, you'll playing it wrong, isn't it? Yeah.
Pretty much that. So I had to, and I consider myself to be a decent gamer at games. Okay, it is brutally hard. Even when you figure out finally what you need to do, it is rock hard game. It doesn't pull any punches. So essentially, what you got to do, you're on this mini map in space, and you have to shoot in like these drifting planetoids, and they release these white crystals. And when you collect them, each crystal turns into what they call like a cine bomb, and you use that bomb or the weapon as it is to defeat the end of level boss, essentially, which is like a demonic skull face. And as you're playing the game, he's constantly mocking you at the same time, like, I live and run away, coward, and I hunger and stuff. So can you imagine playing this back in 1982? It was unheard of, because the first game that come to mind when it comes to that kind of digitized voice was things like Atari games like Gauntlet and 720 and things like that. So, but it just plays very well. It's a very smooth game. There's no input lag. The graphics are bright and colourful, kind of like Asteroid kind of feel, the way you control the ship.
Yeah, it's got a lot of inertia, isn't it, to the ship?
Yeah, it's just a tough old game, and once you figure out the mechanics of the game, it does become a lot easier to kind of navigate. Oh, it's definitely a coin guzzler. It's not one of those games where, let's see how far this 10 pence goes, let's see how far this £1 goes, or whatever it is.
Yeah, because that's it, as you say, it sort of falls into 2 categories, doesn't it? So the first bit of it is you're frantically shooting these asteroids to break off, as you say, those sort of like the mine, things to mine that make the bombs that you need. And then once you get the Sinister, say, I live again, beware, I live, is one of his phrases.
Yeah, I love that.
And so once you've had that happen, he's coming for you. And then it's a case of he comes pretty quick at you, and it's dodging him, but leaving you can drop the bombs and that he'll go into them, but it takes quite a lot of the bombs to destroy him. And if you haven't picked up enough of these bombs, which is quite easy to not have picked up enough bombs, you've got a nightmare, because you've got this angry Sinister following you, and you're frantically trying to shoot these asteroids to get more bombs. All the while as well, if you don't pick these bombs up quickly enough, which is quite difficult because of the inertia, isn't it? Because you know, it will carry on skidding after you sort of like turn and things. That can be a nightmare in itself, because you've got to pick up the bomb. The bombs are the only way of destroying the Sinister, and it's quite a lot you need, don't you, to really destroy him. And then of course it cycles the whole thing, and it's insane. But you're right, speech is really impressive. I mean, there's 7 phrases in the game. You know, beware I live, I hunger, coward, beware, coward. Obviously, they're using run, coward, which sounds a bit like Ron Howard. That was when I first said it. And then run, and I am Sinister. But yeah, no, I was pleased, because obviously I've known this game for a long time. I mean, it was part of the Midway Arcade Treasure collection. Do you remember those on the PS1 and well, actually it was on PS1 as the greatest hits, but
it was on
PS2
PS1
and Xbox.
PSP.
But it's also on the Midway Arcade Origin collection, which you can still buy on the Xbox One even today, although it's a 360. So there's lots of ways to buy it. But it's one that, you know, on Arcade Treasures and things, I'd played it, but I never really properly played it. You know, I was probably a bit like how a lot of people have been, is you play it, think, oh, that's brutally hard. I'll probably leave that and go for something easier. But this, I was quite pleased that you'd put this on the list, because it really made me play it properly. And once you get used to the nuances of it all, it really is quite addictive, isn't it? You're right, it's brutally hard, but it is very compelling, and it doesn't feel cheap. There's never a moment where you thought, okay, that was a cheap death. It was always my fault, or, you know, when you die, you felt it was.
Well, what I found with the game is if you stay stationary for too long, then you're dead. You have to kind of like do hit and run tactics. You know, like, because those little ships are very good at picking you off quite comfortably. So you got to like hit and run, kind of circle back again, hit and run. You know, I mean, give it a go, guys. I mean, if you haven't already, give it a go. If you played it, then you know how good the quality is. Hence why it's on there. So
no, it is a real classic, and it's one that never gets, you know, because obviously this is part of the early golden era, as they say, of arcades. But it's always very low down the list. I mean, obviously Defender and all these others in Joust, you know, are so well regarded, but this seems to be one that, not forgotten, but lesser thought of, isn't it? It's very good. No, I'm glad. I mean, any more you want to say about this game, or any memories?
No, I mean, like you said, I mean, one of the biggest reasons why I picked it, because all the other games of that era get the nod before it, like the Defenders and things like that, Robotron, you name it. So I thought, this gets mentioned a lot, but I've never actually sat down and given it any time. And when I did, I was pleasantly surprised at how good it is. And I think the only reason why it's not picked more often is because, like you said, the difficulty level is just it's quite tough. But then it's just get on with it and give it a go, guys.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. No, that's one of the things. It is brutally hard. I mean, I must admit, I did put on just to see. You know, as I went through further, because I wanted to see, did it change much later on, which it doesn't really. But I did put infinite bomb cheat just to see, you know, does it do anything different? But to be honest, it just gets harder and harder, to the point where you can't even see what's going on. It's so quick. It's quite impressive. Awesome. So shall we go on to our second game then?
Let's do it.
So, as you heard with that lovely little music there, this is Gumbird 2, released in 1998 by Sikio, and it was published by Capcom. This is a vertical bullet hell shooter, obviously the sequel to Gumbird, and it's about treasure hunters off to find the sun, moon and star elements. But you don't really need to know all of that. It's just basically number of fighters, a nice eclectic range. I always choose is it Marion, the witch on the broom? That's my personal choice. But there's nice variety to the enemy, the characters you can choose, and you have wonderful 7 stages of beautiful pixel art, basically. So I'm going to go to you to describe. Do you want to describe it a little bit more for our listeners and why you chose this one?
So, if you guys don't know, I'm a sucker for these kind of, I won't call them bullet hell games, because that'll come to like Don Patch and all that kind of stuff, like the crazy combos. I like this one because it reminds. Have you ever? There's shooters. There's this one, 1942. All those kind. I love them. I just think they're really well made. But I love this one because it's just load of different characters in there. You can chain. It's one of the first games where you can chain combo the coins within the game to get really super high scores as well. It's not overly complicated, where you can pick it up pretty quickly and get used to it. Like you got your fire button, great. You hold down the fire button, you shoot rockets. You got a risk reward button as well, where you got like a melee button as well. So you can charge in very quickly, and you can hit with the melee button, and it is super powerful. And obviously then you've got your normal bomb button, which is like every kind of these games got like you get out of jail kind of card. But I just love it. I just think it's a super colourful game. It's like every character's got its own kind of unique style, different combination. I like Alucard, which is like obviously the first character you pick. I just love him because it's Alucard,
Dracula,
really.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, for that reason, I just think it's it's one of the first games to feature like what they call medal chaining. So you pick up, you repeat when the coins flash, you get higher points as you do it, as you go up the chain, basically the coin chain they call it. I think the first game to feature that was, I don't know if you've ever played it before, like Strikers 1945. Really same kind of thing. So those 2 games for me, I just love them to pieces. I just think they're not mentioned as often as I would like,
Yeah, I suppose
why I put them on here.
I mean, you're right. It's not really a bullet hell, but there's so many. But I mean, that's one of the things. Actually, I'll be honest. I've got a lot of love for this series back in the day, purely because it really was the first shooter of this ilk. With this number of bullets on the screen rather than your 1942 and things, that I played on the Dreamcast, because I had the Dreamcast back in the day, and I picked up this very game, had a wonderful home port of it, and then I picked it up because you had the Gumbird Special Edition, which is on PS2, that had both games 1 and 2. Going back to it, I don't know. I do find it's cheap with a lot of the bullet patterns. There was often times when I felt, unlike with cave shooters, I always felt there was a way through the bullet patterns. Whether too often with this game, the only way through the bullet pattern was to drop a bomb, which I thought was a bit coin guzzly and a bit unfair. I mean, it's fine, of course, on main because you can put in the coins, but I would feel quite burned out with some of these deaths personally. But then on the other side of it, it's got fantastic artwork, isn't it? It's gorgeous artwork throughout. I love the character designs. The character designs is actually based very heavily on, I don't think it was officially licensed, but there was a 1975 anime called Time Bokan, which we did get in the West. I'll put in the show notes the full anime series called Time Fighters, but you'll notice some of the characters that they've put in this game is shamefully from the guy with like the weird red nose and things. He appears.
Yeah.
I guess it was, even at this time they didn't care about sort of like licensing things officially. But no, it's a good shooter, and it does draw me in. I do prefer the original, if I'm honest. I find the original fairer, but thankfully it's one of the games where you can buy it on all the modern consoles, which is wonderful. Also, I picked up on the Switch. I believe it's also on the PS4 and 5, the Sikyo collections I bought on the Switch. It's called Alpha, Sikyo Alpha, the second one is called Bravo, and I think on the PS4 it's called Volume 1, 2, and I think 3, which is sort of like spreads them all out. But the Bravo version has both Gunbird games on it, with all the extras and the ability to tweak the difficulty, which is much thankful for with this game. But yeah, no, it's it is great, and it's a shame that we haven't had sort of more. It's a shame when CKO sort of like shut up shop, because there were so many wonderful games that they sort of put together, really. So I mean, what do you think of the first one? Do you find it's better than you prefer the first one or the second one?
No, I'm a more of a fan of the second one. I can see where you're coming from with the bullet patterns. They are tough. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, that is where the melee button comes in handy. Because it's the risk reward. So if you manage to learn the patterns, it doesn't really work on the bosses, but you have to kind of hit those big mobs as quickly as you can when they come on screen. Little ones just you can tap up quite easily, but the big ones that come on the screen, they soak up like bullet sponges basically. You need to get in there quick, hit them with the melee.
So I'm probably not learning the tactics with it. Yeah,
it's tough. It is tough. I mean that melee button is so underused. It's insane. But once you start using it more, I mean I can't. On one credit, I can get to like stage 4.
That's really impressive. Yeah, really impressive.
That's as far as I can, because it is a tough game. It is a tough game, and like you said, on MAME, it's so easy just to coin guzzle, and it kind of takes away while you're playing it. I'd always like to see how far I can get on one credit. I've not managed to complete it yet.
Yeah.
So,
well, the bombs are super powerful. It turns like. Well, it depends on which character, isn't it? 2 different ones, but with Marion, the witch, she turns all the bullets into like candy, and you can go and collect it up. So that's quite good as well. At least when you drop the bomb, you get extra points, etc. One thing, because you've got an Xbox, haven't you? Xbox One, or
yeah. I've got one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that you might be interested in, and to our listeners, because I've been quite impressed with Antstream, because it's got certainly the first game. I don't know if it's got the second game as well, but what I love with Antstream, particularly on the Xbox, because it's not very good on, in my opinion, you get too much lag on the PC, but you get these challenges in them where they've taken the game apart, and so they'll say, okay, on this level, how long are you gonna survive on one life? And it's so addictive, because when you get like tournaments, and you get where it'll be limited, and it's just nice to see your ranking in the world. I was playing, do you know Spelunky, but the original Spelunky.
Yeah.
They had a tournament.
Yeah.
I think I got to number 20 in the world, but I'm so friggin' addicted to it. I know I'm never going to get to number 1, and I think by the end of it, I haven't looked, but I'm sure by the end you get all the really good players come at the end, so I'm sure I would have been knocked down at the end of the tournament. But it's very good. And one thing, I don't know if it's still going on, but they've given another an option to pay lifetime license, because that's what I did. It was a bit eye-watering, because it was like 80 quid. But once you paid it, you never have to pay it again on Antstream.
I know you love Antstream. And I had to go at it once. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's changed now, but the lag for me, it absolutely killed anything for me.
Yeah, on PC, I was the same. I was actually one of the original, the Kickstarter backers. So I was like a founder thing. And I played it for a bit, and I walked away on the PC because the lag was, it just didn't work. And I think it's still the case on PC. I wouldn't recommend it. And they probably hate me saying that, but we say what we feel here. But on the Xbox, because it's built into all the Xbox cloud hardware, and it's they're working with Microsoft. That's why it's only on Microsoft. It just runs perfectly. It runs with no lag. I won't say perfectly. You sometimes get, I've had the odd occasion where for whatever reason it kicks you off the game. Obviously you're never gonna, it's always far better to buy these games locally, and you can buy it on the Xbox and the Switch and the PS4, and that's probably the best way to sort of play these games. But where I love Antstream isn't actually for the full games, because you're right, you might as well just play it on MAME or buy locally. But what's great about Antstream is the challenges where they've deconstructed all these games, and that's perfect for me because it's 5 minutes of time, and you know what it's like, isn't it? And our listeners know, particularly family life, within like 10 minutes I've usually got the missus turning around and suggesting I do some housework or do something else. So these little small bite-sized morsels of challenges it works perfectly for me.
Yeah, so the challenges for me would be the pool, would be
Yeah.
the reason why I do it as well, yeah.
Well, as I say, it's up to you. I would say if you're gonna, it's difficult because you can pay like a monthly subscription, but the lifetime subscription's really, really quite cool. And one of the things I do like with it is it's a curated list as well. They've got some really good like cave shooters there, and really obscure games. I mean, even games that there's another one which we'd mentioned previously. We've done on the show, which was Acrobatic Dogfight. Never heard of it before, but it's a really good old arcade shooter that King Umi sort of like covered on the back of it, and it's full of hidden gems like that. It really is. Yeah. So if you do get it, I've got a vested in. Yeah, I've got a. I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know how long their lifetime one, because they naturally switch it off. They're doing it because it's like 1 year. Yeah, they had it at the beginning, and they're doing it 1 year because I guess they don't want too many people with lifetime license. But I mean, I guess you could just pay for a month and see what you think. I can't imagine. I don't know what the month costs, but just have a plunge. But I find it, to be honest, these days I've switched off Game Pass, and these days that's all I really put my Xbox on for. Is Antstream. I just find it, the challenges, as you say, a lot of fun, and the leaderboards, to see where you are.
All right, man, I'll have a look at that because I love Game Pass. I do love Game Pass, but I'll have a look at this as well.
I love Game Pass, but I've switched mine off because I just don't have time. I just don't have time these days to play some of these bigger games. So I'd rather, I made the decision I'd rather buy in the sale because you get fantastic deals, and just concentrate on the games I have. Whether with Game Pass, it'd be fine if I had more time to be able to play on the PC. Yeah, play on the Xbox. But the trouble is, it's because it's in the main TV. There's always like a Mira, my granddaughter, or my daughter, or Joya, with the wife, all like vying to watch something on TV. So unless it's middle of the night, I tend not to get a chance to play it.
Yeah, I understand that one, mate. Definitely.
Anyway, shall we go on to the next game then? Right, as you heard with that fantastic music there, it is Undercover Cops. This came out in 1992 by IREM, and this is a really interesting, great scrolling beat 'em up. So I'm going to pass it to you before we describe it a little bit more. Do you want to describe it to our listeners, what the game is and why you chose it?
Again, another game that kind of slips by a lot of people simply because of the sheer number of great scrolling beat 'em ups in that time. Especially around 92, 91, 92 when it came out. Like, the Final Fights, the Double Dragons, the Golden Axes, you name it, you can go on forever. I love it just because it is unbelievably good detailed. Really kind of like a grimy kind of post-apocalyptic setting, futuristic setting, you can say. And for the time, it was quite gory.
Yeah, it is,
if I'm
isn't
being
it?
honest
Yeah,
with
that's quite.
you. Yeah.
Especially like the beginning, isn't it? Because you've got like all these like like ravens, and then when they fly off, you realise they've been feasting on like cadavers on the
Yeah,
beach. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
But even on the first level as well, like you can get crushed by like a garbage compactor, whatever they call them.
Mm.
Like during the first boss battle. You know, it's definitely inspired by, you can say, the games of that time. Like, you can say the same for Street Fighter 2. That how many games after Street Fighter 2 came out? Oh, look at this! I can do I can circle the joystick and do like a fireball with the same with the punch button. But they got some unique characters in there as well, like a load of mutants and mole creatures with jetpacks and blades for hands. I just think it's one of those games I've played, and I've never even seen it in the arcades either. I don't even think it's an arcade club when I've been there. So I
No,
just
no,
thought,
I've never
yeah,
seen it in the
so
wild.
exactly. So when I played it, I thought this deserves a mention, and people need to get on board and play it, because it's definitely one that you can play. And even better as well, you can pick up like steel girders and concrete blocks and pillars, whatever, and smash them into the into the crowd. Blood and brains go everywhere. So it's a bit like a Splatterhouse in that regard, like really gory as well. So I recommend you go out there and just give it a go.
Oh,
You
it's
know?
great. I mean, it's got great pixel art
Yeah.
throughout,
Mhm.
really good character design. As I say, it's only a two-player fighter, but that's not uncommon. But you can choose between three characters. So you have, I love the names here. You've got Bubba, he's the ex-professional football player. Flame, she's a former Miss America. And Claude, the retired philosophy
Claude.
teacher.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's absolutely mad, and I love the little references. Like you get like the little TV power ups, and you can see R Type, which is obviously another IRM game.
IRM game. Yeah.
Yeah, playing on the little TV screen, and yeah,
Exactly. And that's the reason why I picked it. It's because IRM have got like a great quality the games have brought out, obviously naming R-Type, but this screams quality throughout. Like like you said,
mm,
the pixel art is fantastic. All the little details are. I mean, you're looking at it now. I mean, I think 2D games now look better than than ever before, because people are starting to appreciate what they managed to do on the hardware. So you look at a game like this, and it just looks it looks really good. Like the artwork's good, the backgrounds are really detailed, and it doesn't hold back on the gore, which, not that I deliberately picked it because of that, but it's kind of crunchy and meaty. If that makes any
mm,
sense. It's like when you play Doom and you can hear and feel the shotgun. You love that sound.
yeah.
Like it's the same thing for this. You can feel the punches. You can feel the damage being dealt. The
Yeah, no,
difference.
exactly, and you're right actually with the pixel art, isn't it? I mean, it's that too often, and I know why they do it because it's easier and things like that. But too often they choose vector art, but you just don't get the soul of pixel art. Where somebody's drawn each frame lovingly. It's a bit like watching a traditional Disney animation as opposed to like one of the modern animated films, isn't it? Today, there isn't that soul where the artist has put in all the little touches as they've drawn out the character. And it's a real shame, and that's why I think they are so beloved. And to be honest, that's why I didn't really get on with games like, and I know a lot of people did, and I don't take anything away. But when they did, was it Streets of Rage 4?
Mm.
The modern one that was done by, was it Way Forward or whichever one it was? I'm going from memory here, so it might not be Way Forward. But I mean, mechanically it was great, but I didn't feel the same love with that game as I do with something like this, where, and it is because of I think I'm just such a pixel art junkie, really. Yeah, but it's.
Yeah, the new Streets of Rage is done really well, but I see exactly where you're coming
Oh
from.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, mechanically it's fantastic, and musically it's fantastic, but yeah, I understand why they do it, and it's the same like we were saying in the last episode with Secret of Monkey Island. The new Monkey Island, the new one done by Ron Gilbert. I mean, it's one of the best adventure games he's ever done. The new one, but the art style. I mean, Kingy won't even play it because of the art style. I mean, I played it, but yeah, I much prefer the original. But you're right. I do love you saying. I love the sort of like Terminator boss at the end, isn't it? And you got the end level boss with the crusher, as you say. That's loads of little touches.
That's a
Really
nod.
nice.
Yeah, that's a nice nod, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. And talking of nods, actually, one of the things I quite liked as well, and it's a shame. It's a shame they never did it as like did it where it was playable. It would have been nice to have like a little bonus thing. But right at the end, when you get the scrolling like credits, the little police van looks and he's bouncing along is definitely a nod to Moon Patrol. You know, another IRM developed, or IRM developed game. So it's nice that they're giving these little nods to their other games that they've done. But I mean, the main designer of this is called Miher, and he was one of the people behind all the Metal Slug games. So, you
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. That's a good. I mean,
yeah.
something tickled my brain there, and I was thinking this definitely is reminiscent of something. But obviously, you being Drisky and you doing the deep research into the weeds.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely got that kind of. Yeah, what's the only way I can describe it is kind of like gritty pixel art, but this it's quite visceral, isn't it? It's done very well.
It's very well, and you can now it did have a Super Famicom only in Japan port of this game, which is actually pretty solid. Also called Undercover Cops. More recently, you can pick it up. I think only on the PC, but there's the IRM Arcade Hits collection by .mu. And that has this game along with many other IRM classics, including the R-Type. But of course, for most people, I mean, MAME runs it perfectly, and or one of the many fully loaded arcade boxes that I'm sure lots of our listeners have. But yeah, I'm with you. It's one that never gets talked about, and it's really, really good beginning to end, isn't it? You quickly realise it's more than just a generic rip-off, really.
Yeah, exactly, and why it's on the list, mate, and it definitely needs a lot more people to have a look at it and see what it's all about, because, like I say, all the ones we all know and love are always going to be there, but something like this just needs to get a little bit of recognition,
Yeah, no, hit after hit, although some of the ones I didn't like as much near the end. Spoiler alert, but no, you've chosen well. You've chosen really well here. So, shall we go on to the next game then?
Let's do it.
Well, this is another one that I really love. I'm such a huge fan of the cave shooters, and this is one of their more unique ones because you're actually on the ground, which is nice. It's called Guanje, and it came out in 1999, developed by Cave and published by Atlas. It's got this long story about it's the Muromachi period of Japan, so sort of like medieval times in Japan, and it has like sorcery and elements, but basically it's just, I mean, I won't bother going into the weeds of the story. It's basically a great bullet hell shooter with the uniqueness, so all the beauty of cave shooters. So it's got the fairness of the bullet patterns and things, loads of things happening, but one of the things that makes this a lot more unique to your typical cave shooter or typical even bullet hell shooter is you are on the floor, so you have to worry about the scenery. Basically, you can't go, you're not flying, so you can't go anywhere. I mean, do you want to say a little bit more about the game and explain why you chose it?
Well, as I said before, if you haven't noticed, I love these kind of games, and Cave, as you know, is one of the best companies out there.
Definitely.
Publishers out there to do it. I like this game because it's kind of set over one one whole rather than a stage by stage approach. It is like it's you can collect the coin chain, as I call it, throughout the
Hmm.
entire game, rather than doing more like you finish a stage, you get your bonus now, and that's why this game is completely unforgiving for your score, and it's almost entirely dependent on you getting uninterrupted coins,
Mm.
as it were. But there's just so many. I mean, it's even to this day, there's so many mechanics within the game that I'm still finding out the whole time as well. You know, like you can. It has a limited bomb attack, you know, an energy blast that can dispel bullets that it touches, and you know you can go into the midst of the enemies, and you know, oh, it's just where you play Gunbow 2, it's a little bit more simplistic. You know, you've got
Mm.
three buttons: bomb, melee, and shoot. This one has got so many mechanics that you almost feel obliged to go into a game guide and find out how to get the best out of it because there's so much going on the whole time. How did you feel about it as well? Because I mean, I was playing this all today as well, and I'm still finding out things all the time.
I love this one. I'm with you. I love cave shooters, and this has gorgeous artwork. I mean, it's so many little details that you see in the artwork, but beautiful range of weaponry, and you know, with the different characters that you choose. But the reason I love the cave shooters is they're always fair. There's always and the hitbox is very small. So one, you look like a boss to people who don't realise that the hit you know, the hitbox, the thing that kills you, is actually really tiny, so you can seemingly walk through these like impossible bullet patterns. Um, but it,
Yeah, that taught me. I've got a confession. When I first started playing these games years and years ago,
yeah, yeah,
you know where I'm going with this. I assumed it was like your R types, where your whole ship is dead. But then I started playing this more and more and realised, hang on, these bullets are going through me. What's going on? Then I
mm,
realised you've got like small little hit marker inside you, and that's when you can start manipulating and, like you said, learning the patterns and how far do you want to risk it, how close do you want to get to, you know,
yeah. But I was so glad.
these bullets.
I was so glad that you put this on the list because, I mean, I love my cave shooters, but this is always one that I put lower on. You know, I always go to the go-to ones like Mishiyama or many of the other sort of ESP Galuda, those sort of ones. They're ones I always seem to are drawn to initially. So it's really refreshing, sort of like sitting down and playing these properly as well. And I'm so glad I did because it's. Yeah, it's just I love the setting. I love it's a really interesting sort of Japanese sort of medieval setting, and it really makes a difference. And it's a shame there's not more bullet hells out there that actually put you on the floor, because it really gives you that whole different dynamic of having to worry about the scenery. You know, you can only go up the stairs, for example, and you're sort of hemmed in as you sort of go through. But yeah, at no point did I find that was like an annoying mechanic. It just sort of like added to the immersion of the game. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this, and it's one that sadly, I mean, the Xbox 360 saw a port back in the day, but I
Mm.
don't. There's nowhere that I'm aware of that you know, you can buy it. Whereas you can buy all the many of the other cave shooters. So
Well,
it's like
funnily enough, this came out. I don't know how it would have worked on mobile phones back in 2003.
yeah, I wouldn't want to
So
play on mobile phone. Can you
no,
imagine? Um,
exactly. I mean, not only was the
yeah,
technology probably awful, but the screens were probably what, like 2 inches wide, and it would have been
no, it was
awful.
just awful. Yeah, and that's one of the things I really really want to happen. Is I know a lot of these games you can buy individually and it's wonderful, but I want a cave collection shooter. I mean, there's so many games, and you know, but this is top tier. This is done by Kenichi Takano. So he's the person behind Dudonpachi games, you know, SP Galuda, SP Rade, all of those series, the
Mm.
Ketsu, Mishiyama, you know, Pink Sweets, V5. He also did when he in his Topeland days. Pro Gear, which is on, you know, which is a horizontal one. I mean, he is top tier shooting gold. and yeah, this is, I think, one of the best, really. So really good.
There's so many cave, like the 360 was a great console for all these shooters, cave shooters. I've got all of them on my 360, like Don to Patch. I've got so many other ones. There's one, something Smiles, something Death
Death
Smiles, I think it
Smiles,
might be
yeah,
called.
Death Smiles,
That's
yeah.
it. Great game as well. But what's really annoying is I got myself a Series X, right? And now the good thing about the Series X is great with backwards compatibility, but those games ain't licensed to it, so you can't play them.
Yeah,
You
I
can't play them
know,
on the
it's
free.
so
You can't play 'em.
annoying. I because of that. I mean, I still keep my 360, but I bought I bought a chipped 360 in the end. I still got my original 360 with a lot of these games, but just so I can play them. But I mean, we're lucky enough that MAME exists these days. I mean, in terms of Death Smiles, it's a bit pricey, but there is like a wonderful collection of Death Smiles 1 and 2, I think it is, that you can buy on all the modern consoles.
Yeah, that's annoying because I've got it on the 360. I got Death Smiles on the 360, 1 and 2 on the 360, and I was like, it
Yeah,
won't load up on the X just because of licensing reason. Now, as much as it's good for me to boot up the 360 again, it seems redundant. It's like, ugh, here we go. So hopefully they sort out those licensing, because Don Do Patch you can't play on it either, and that as well. So
yeah,
hopefully they get the license agreements, because like you said, if they can get a cave collection or even allow you to play your old games on the modern console, that'd be like a day one purchase for me straight away.
oh yeah. No, I mean Cave by far. I was mentioned like the CKO collection. I bought the Alpha and Bravo because I love all the 1945, the Strike collections and things like that, along with Gunbird 1 and 2. That's I love their shooters, but Cave is top tier. Cave is the one. One of the things that's quite cool, honestly I have no connection with Antstream. I just but they do have a couple of cave shooters on there. With the leaderboards and the challenges, it's awesome. Playing Mushiyama Sama and ESP Galuda 2 and things like that on it is awesome.
Okay, all right, you've convinced me now. So I need to do launch box for the Amiga
Yeah.
and Antstream. Okay, so I've just got myself a new job as well. So
So you got
funds are
yeah.
funds are a bit better now. So I can
See,
go
this is
and
what I
treat
do
myself.
because while I'm searching for a job, I spend vicariously with others.
Yeah, it's working because after this, once I get Mia down to bed, I'm gonna go download that now. So thanks, mate.
I shouldn't tell you with Antstream because you're going to be on my friend list, and then I'll be like thrashing me every 5 seconds. Because I kid you not, when he's saying it with no hyperbole, listeners, is that when he says he's good with games, John is one of the best game players I've ever encountered.
Oh no, I appreciate the compliment, but it's like,
Yeah.
look who we got look at Garen. Garen's good. Everyone in our team is good. I consider myself to be overall consistent over all genres. Okay. But if you look at Rick, for example, Street Fighter 2, shoot 'em ups. Look at Garen of these bullet hell games. They're all very, very good players. So what we should do, whoever gets Antstream, we can all add each other on there, and we can get like a nice little community on Antstream. Maybe do a few.
Yeah,
Again,
with our
just
listeners
let the,
as
let
well.
the best
Yeah.
man win.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, exactly.
Because we've got some amazing games. Did you see Pipes? One of our listeners, and part of the gaming development scene, and I think he's got number 1 on R-Type 2 in the world.
Blimey.
Yeah, he's and he's been trying to get up higher on things like Donkey Kong. He's like very high up on Donkey Kong and things. But yeah, quite envious. I don't know, to our listeners, if you look on YouTube, one of our other listeners, I think it was Almac, happened to go to America because that's where Pipes. He's English, but he lives in America because that's where the game development that he does. He did that. The most recent one I can think of is he did what was the Left 4 Dead, but the new one. Back for Blood, was it? Back for Blood or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, so he was like, I think, the art director on that. So he's a bit, quite big in that, and he's worked on Last of Us and things like that. So he's, pretty big deal.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
but he's like an avid listener of the show, and he
Hello.
Yeah, he Almac did a visit, and he thankfully took video footage of his basically gaming den, Pipe's gaming den, because he's really into sort of like buying all the arcade cabinets. He's got all these wonderful arcade cabinets of all these fantastic games. It's like his own arcade. Uh, arcade
Oh,
club.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
Because imagine, I mean, if you had the money and the space and the resources, I mean, let's be
yeah,
honest, that'd be like, that's what, I mean, no, actually, I do two. I do one for things like that, and I'd build myself a gym, obviously, in my as well. So,
yeah. So
but
the gym would hang. It would it'd be all arcade machines. I mean, I probably would do multi carts of the cabs. So you have one that's vertical with all the shooters on and things.
yeah, like the Astro cabs or something like
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah, get the Astro cabs,
Yeah,
one vertical,
yeah, they're great.
one
They are great.
horizontal, and of course like a racing one would be awesome, and the shooting ones. Yeah, no, it'd be. I've come to the conclusion it's not going to happen. I mean, it's going the wrong way here. It's like we've now got 4 in a 2-bedroom flat, so it's
Yeah,
space
yeah. It's a,
is of a premium, unfortunately. But no, really, really, really good. But at least Arcade Club, I'm looking forward to new listeners of the show. We do like a yearly meetup, sometimes more, but typically yearly, where we try to go to Arcade Club with our listeners. And I'm gonna probably say the wrong date, but I think it's the 20th of September, isn't it?
off the top of my head, I think it's the 21st.
Yes,
And
yeah.
the only reason why I know that is because the first thing I did when I got my new job is say, right, I can't work this weekend, which is because I'm in the gym industry, the fitness industry. I've just been given a new job as a manager of a couple of clubs, and unfortunately it's shift work and weekend work sometimes. But the first thing I said when I come in was 21st of September and the 22nd. I can't work because I'm being a geek and having some fun.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look. Actually, can you bring up your calendar? Have you got it on your thing? Because it doesn't look right, my thing here. Because 21st says a Wednesday.
The 21st of September is definitely a Saturday.
Is it definitely a Saturday? So yeah,
Definitely a Saturday. Yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be there. John will be there. Kingy definitely is there, and more importantly, a lot of our listeners. And it's good, isn't it? It's a really good group of lads. I mean, obviously, well, your missus comes often, doesn't she? As well, she loves with their games as well.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll come along and play. Yeah, but sometimes she's kind of the attitude. Look, go away, do your thing, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, okay.
I remember that one year where because you discovered how cheap the vodka and stuff was at the bar, because you could buy booze, isn't it? And both you and your missus were absolutely trolleyed by the end of the night. And what was worse is that you could still beat me in all the games, even though you could barely stand up.
Yeah, I remember that because we got that lovely. We had the Ridge Racer challenge, didn't we?
Yeah.
I smashed that up, and then I come downstairs and it's like a giant Sonic the Hedgehog statue. Obviously, like had a few drinks that day, got some great photos. Me and the missus. But the thing is, mate, it's like they're memorable nights, aren't they? You meet up with your friends, you have a good drink, have a good game, and that's what it's all about,
Oh, it is. It really is good to our, because I know we've gained a lot of new listeners to the show, and from the YouTube side of things. So, if you are new to it all, please, if you can, it's a open and free. It's not like an organised event. Everybody buys their tickets and agreed to go at the same day. But it's in Bury, it's near Manchester in the UK, and it's an amazing place, isn't it? It's like it's the biggest in Europe, with I think it's about 600. Did you say 600, 700 arcade games?
Enough.
Yeah.
All original hardware as well. I went up to one in Liverpool because I now. No, my accent. I'm from London normally, but I live in Liverpool now. They've got a really good arcade. They're called Arcanes. They've got some original hardware, but a lot of it is like emulation.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look as good. I mean, I'm just being fussy about the aspect ratios and.
Oh, but that's so important, aspect ratios, isn't it? Yeah.
That plus all the pixels are smoothed over, like it's not scan lines. So when you do go, and it's, each to their own, but when you go to Arcade Club, you are getting a genuine article.
Yeah, all
Everything's original
CRTs,
hardware.
original
Yeah,
hardware. Yeah, they
it's
don't
unreal.
cut corners. Yeah, so I agree with you. Well, one of the things I really want to do, I've been looking longingly at some of the videos, because you get, oh my god, what's it called? What's it called? What's the one in Chicago?
Oh, I've seen pictures of it, but I don't know the name of it. But
Hang
that
on, I'm
looks
gonna look it up. I'm
that
gonna
looks
look it up.
yeah, that looks massive as well, though, doesn't it?
That's the biggest in the world. It's got like about 1,000 arcade machines. Galloping Ghosts, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen pictures. That looks insane.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really excited to sort of try there, because one of the things, Joya's got some. Oh, she used to be like a teacher in the Philippines before she came over, and she's pretty much taught. I mean, she's a radiographer now, but she taught pretty much everybody, it seems, that radiography. She's one of the main universities. So she's got friends all over, and she was like, "Oh, we've been invited to Chicago." I'm like, "Yes," because I said, "Well, we'll wait till I get a job, but I want to go to Chicago because I know what's nearby Chicago. So long as you give me like at least a day, Galloping Ghosts.
At least a day.
Yeah. Oh, I could spend days. But looking at some of the videos, they got some really unique ones there that you don't get. You don't get. But that's a similar ilk where it's like original hardware as well. Anyway, shall we go on to the final two games?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, but okay. So,
Oh no, I'm saying that. The only reason why I'm saying it like that is because of what's coming up next.
oh no, well, yeah, these two at the end, they're a little bit eyebrow raising. Because I know why you chose this one first of all, and I know why you chose the last one actually. This one is Mutant Fighter, which came out in 1991. It's done by Data East again. It's actually called Death Braid in Japan, and it's also known as Heroes Fight to the Finish. It's almost like Data East kept changing the names so people didn't think it sort of smelled of turd. No, I'm being cruel. It's basically a wrestling game.
Mm-hmm.
Fighter, but you can play like mythical characters, isn't it, like werewolves and things like that, and golems and things like that. So yeah, how many have we got? We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters, isn't it? You can play from Hercules, Minotaur, werewolf, dragon, golem, the beast, and then you've got your female Amazoness and the fighter.
Amazoness, yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I know why you chose it, because it's kind of like wrestling, but with mythical characters. It's got everything you sort of need. But
I just loved it because every time I used to go to the Isle of Wight quite a lot. I used to be a part of a.
So this is nostalgia, club. Right? Okay, you played it.
Yeah. Oh, I played it so much back in the day, and even then it grabbed my attention. It had that kind of really kind of bombastic music, and you had all these great music, and you had these great kind of finishing moves where you literally do pile drivers like up into fucking space, and you land on their heads, and like you said, I think even then it caught my eye. Now I still think it holds up quite well. I can see why people don't like it because it can be a bit clunky, but I just like the whole you're fighting creatures from myth, like you said, like the Minotaur, the werewolf, the golem, dragon, and Hercules, and it was just something different. Then
it is, yeah. I mean, I put it in the same category of King of Dragon. Where you're destroying the buildings, because it's
like Pit Fighter, even just joking. Never mention that game again.
No, it's got great artwork, great music. It is fun. I like some of the arenas. Like you have, they have everything from spikes you can throw them against, or like chained. You got like spiked balls, isn't it? Like that can you can bounce them into and things. But I guess the big problem I had with
just a fun game.
It is fun. It's kind of the reason I said wrestling is because it reminds me a lot of WrestleFest without the license, obviously, because it is a button masher. There's quite a lot of limit.
Yes.
There's a lot of coolness with how it looks. You know, if you're watching someone play it, it looks like the coolest thing ever. But when you come to play it, it's a lot of you're quite limited, and you spend the whole time grappling and then bashing the buttons. It's a real button basher.
It is a button basher. Yeah, there's not. To be honest, it is what you would call your typical. They draw you in with the music and the loudness and the brashness and how good it looks, and then you realise, okay, it is a coin guzzler. You know,
Which is exactly like WrestleFest. I mean, people love that game, but gameplay wise, let's be honest. I mean, if it wasn't for the license of seeing Hulk Hogan and all these cool characters drawn and depicted, gameplay wise, it's not the greatest, is it? Unfortunately,
no, I agree totally, mate. I totally agree. It's exactly the same, and all those games of that era mimicked other games of that era.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I said before, back to Street Fighters and the other games, like they just copied each other basically. This is exactly the same for that reason. But I just thought, it brings back some nostalgic memories of being in the Isle of Wight. I used to go there every year in the boys' club, and they had like Sandown, Shanklin, Ventnor, and it was just, it was like back in the early 90s. It was just rows upon rows of arcade machines.
Oh, I used to
and you
love
go
Isle
in
of
there,
Wight,
and and it was great for that. And this game, even then, like just caught my eye. I just think it was the moves that they drew me in. And then you see all the special moves, and then you play it yourself, and you think, oh, where's all my money gone?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, that makes more sense actually. Yeah, I can see with the nostalgia. I can see why you liked it. I mean, to be honest, it's not. Like I said with King of Dragons or WrestleFest, it's the same thing. It looks really cool, but when you actually play it, the moves are so limited that you just spend all your time. I mean, it shows a lot of different animations on things, but it's all the same move, really, isn't it? And but yeah, no, it's fun. It is fun. For short-term bashes, particularly as two-player, isn't it? That's when it really comes into its own, which unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do personally, but I can imagine it's a lot more fun in two-player, in the same way like King of Dragons is. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a game built for me.
So, So what's your favourite? What character is the one that you choose then?
Which one do you think? I'll take a guess.
I reckon Hercules for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Hercules. Yeah.
For me, it's the werewolf because it's like I love werewolf films. So whenever there's like a werewolf, I can choose.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you did like it. Come on.
I did like. I mean, it was fine in short bursts. It's not, but it's just gameplay wise, it was limited moves, and that sort of made it short-lived for me. It did see, this is another one that did see a Super Famicom port, so only in Japan. As I mentioned, in Japan it's called Death Braid, if you're ever trying to search it down. Did get on the FM Towns Marty and the Sharp X68000 computers as well, so that's interesting machines, well worth emulating the FM Towns Marty and the Sharp. Lots of unique games, but yeah, I mean, overall, it does what it says on the tin. It's not the greatest out there, but the character design and the music pulls you through. Yeah, the character designs is awesome, and musically, you're right, it really, really draws you in. Has Mia played
Give
it?
it a go, guys. Not yet. I think she'd get too frustrated with it. She's definitely more kind of like I said, a Final Fight kind of Golden Axe kind of player. I think something like this would be too frustrating for her because she hasn't got quite the dexterity in her fingers to button bash that well yet.
Yeah.
I'll give it time.
There's good games with it. Have you tried on the Dungeons and Dragons with her? She likes Golden Axe.
Oh, the Tower of Mystery.
Well, there's two of them. Yeah, there's two of them. Yeah.
Oh, she loves all that, but even that sometimes can be a bit much because you can select different weapons, can't you, within your inventory, and she's definitely like, there's punch, there's kick, go forward, hit things.
It's all you need, isn't it, with these sort of games?
Well, at this age, yeah. I mean, what's depressing, when I first gave her my Game Boy Advance to play with, she started pinching the screen thinking it was a touch screen.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, not surprising.
I was like, no, darling, you got to use the buttons. And she's like, oh, okay. And that took a long time to get used to as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Mira into sort of like... She likes Bubble quite a bit, but because she's
Great game.
autistic, she struggles a bit with the noise. So we have to
Mia's the same, mate. Mia loves Bubble Bobble.
yeah,
But it's the same thing. Mia hates loud noises. They said she's got like sensory ADHD or something. I don't know what it's called. But
yeah,
you go into when we first went into arcade clubs, some of the games there like really affected her. You know, just the
yeah.
noise.
You ought to get them. We buy noise cancelling headphones. Like she puts on. Yeah.
That's a good shout, mate. I might have to do that next time.
Yeah, they work very well, because we took Mira to like modern arcades our way, Star City, and she loved it because the upstairs is more geared towards kids, so it's got like she loved the Nerf gun one and stuff like that. She was playing it, but
Yeah, they're good fun.
but she quickly couldn't deal with the sound, and unfortunately, we hadn't brought the. Her mum had forgotten to bring the headphone, the noise cancelling, so we had to take her back, unfortunately. But next time, I'm going to take her there and and with the headphones and play through.
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody move that body.
Right, okay, so shall we go on to the last game that you chose? I'm sort of putting this out here, you chose. And
No, I've got no shame.
and
I've got no shame.
well, I had shame playing this because it was like one, I had to make sure that everybody was out of the house to record the footage, and even now when I do the footage, so we don't get like barred on it all, I'm gonna have to put like selective little smiling happy faces over the screen so we can give it a PG rating. The video. What is it then? What have you chosen? It is...
Well, go on, mate. You do it, go on.
Okay, it is Miss World 96. Made in 1996 by Comad, and this is essentially... This is a ruder version of the Gal Panic series, which is very good actually, which in turn is a rip-off of Kicks, the old arcade game. Gal Panic, if you want something a bit with the same gameplay but a bit one that you can play a little easier with people around, the Gal Panic, it's hand-drawn art of scantily dressed women but not nude, so Gal Panic might be a way to go if you like the gameplay, but if you're there for the articles, John.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah, but this has got real nude women. It's digitized as opposed to how hand drawn, but it does have and just to briefly mention, if you don't know what I mean when I say Kicks, that's the one where you draw. You have to draw the boxes, dodging the enemies, and if you get to the edge, you draw a complete box, then it will colour that in, and the idea is you have to like colour most of the playing board to complete it and move on the level. So over to you then, John. Why did you choose this and put me through where I'm sneakily playing it under the bed covers?
Mate, I chose this game
because you're a perv.
Right, just that.
Yeah.
Okay, guilty as charged. But I chose it because it is one of the most random games I've ever played in my life. Okay, everything about this game is just absolutely bonkers. I'm playing it. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I know it's a Kick, so you got to expose the picture by cover getting more and more. But I still don't know the mechanics of this game. So here's the thing. There's naked women behind the picture when you finally reveal it.
Yeah.
But what happens is if you get negative points, you go down, the picture then turns into like a demon. Like Freddy Krueger-esque demon, and the music changes like some disco music, and it all goes crazy, and it is the most random game I've ever played.
Yeah, it's
The
really
reason why
weird,
it's
isn't
on
it, when
here-
it goes to the demon level?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
quite a
great
horror
because
scene, like it will
Exactly.
flip on it with a horror picture.
But there's no rhyme or rhythm how you do it. It's just. But the thing is, the reason why I chose it, because the more people I think should see this game, the better, because it's that weird. Go and play it, okay, and let us know what you think, because it is absolutely bonkers. Like the music is insane. It's got like some mid-90s disco music, some
Yeah.
Korean music thrown in.
Yeah, you got like you got John Michael Czar, Oxygen Part 4, Tonight is the Night by Le Bouche, and Let's All Chant by Look Twice, and
Your body,
that's it.
everybody,
Yeah,
move your body.
And it is. You're right. Playing it, it's crazy. But I mean, you are right. Like Gal Panic, because I've always actually really shouted out Gal Panic as a series. In fact, we covered it on one of the Saturn episodes that we did way back when, because and this is basically a competent clone like that, because it is. Like Gal Panic, it's a good update of kicks. You know, take the nude element out of it. It's actually a very fun kicks game, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it's just a good. All right.
But this is very
Right,
rude.
okay. Yeah, it's very rude.
It
It's
is.
very pornographic, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Right,
have to
you go
put
into
lots of like little happy faces to hide
Yeah.
the naughty bits. Yeah.
You go into a rabbit hole of it though, because you're thinking, all right, what other games has this company made? This is South Korea, and you look into it, and all they've done is just loaded these kind of like adult themed games.
Yeah.
So obviously now I've got to go through the list. Okay, I have to now. It's a rabbit hole. I can't resist.
Well, we have
I have
some
to do it.
we have some listeners that are always decrying. Can we do like an adult themed episode? So they'll
When do we
appreciate
do it?
this
Let's
one.
do it. Let's do it. Let's do the adult one, mate.
Unfortunately, with me doing the editing, I go, oh my god, it's going to be like happy faces everywhere on that episode.
Yeah. Your wife comes in. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Nothing, darling.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. In fairness, it is a really fun, if mad, game. It is though quite pornographic, but it does mix things up quite a bit. You've got like locked areas and closed off areas, which you've got to draw the boxes around. It really takes kicks and runs with it. So, a lot of these games, they'd be perfectly fine without the nudity. They'd be fun games as they are. But I guess they're fitting for a certain market. But
Exactly.
you'll be surprised, he says, not at all. This isn't officially licensed from the Miss World beauty pageant. Strange enough, they didn't get the official license for it. Much like I'm sure they didn't get the license for all the music.
Well, if Miss World was a bit more like this, I think more people would be tuning in, right? Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
But
Yeah, it's a good range of digital pictures, and you could go around the world, isn't it? Europe, USSR, North America, Africa, Asia, and South America. Which is your favourite region, then, John? Well, of the country, not the women.
USSR. The fact that it's even called USSR as well is amazing.
Well, yeah. I guess it's because it's 90. Yeah, 6. Yeah, I suppose that would be the tell. I'm trying to think. When did they stop being USSR? They're pretty much
When did the wall come down? Yeah.
Yeah, that's beginning of the 90s. So yeah, it's a bit out of date, isn't it? With their
Well, that's half the charm of this game.
Mm.
It's just completely random and bonkers.
It is, yeah.
That's why you have to go and play it.
Yeah, the horror flip is quite, because you're like, oh, it's suddenly unlocking, and I'll be honest, I could never work out why it flipped.
No, and nor do I.
Yeah,
and I've looked at game guide. I've gone in the weeds of this. I've gone game guides and everything.
You've really
so you
studied
can
with this,
unlock. Yeah, maybe a bit too much. But if you go around the blocks to unlock the unlocked areas, you think you'd be rewarded for taking a huge risk. No. You get negative points, and I'm like, how does this work? What am I doing? This game's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
It is mad, and it helps with all the little like small musical clips of like crazy music that comes in at certain points. Yeah, it's very much like one of those typical Japanese games, isn't it, where you play and you're like, I have no idea what's going on. It's just throwing random crap at me, and this very much falls into that category. But
oh yes.
But no, thank you very much for giving me a nightmare on the video edit. I'll look forward to getting little stickers to put everywhere.
I look forward to seeing this.
Footage. Yeah. But no, to our listeners, if you want it less rude, Gal Panic, also in the arcades, has basically the same gameplay, but the hand drawn, and there's no, it's just scantily dressed but still wearing underwear women in Gal Panic. Whether this is full on porn, basically. There's no leaving it to your imagination, and also the horror pictures are pretty gross as well, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of like Freddy Krueger and Hellraiser, kind of blended
Yeah, very
together.
Hellraiser. I felt that because you've got spiked heads and things that suddenly appear, isn't it? With the digitized picture.
And it's just the way the music changes as well to kind of you now got a demon to unlock, but we give you this really jaunty disco music from the mid-90s, so you don't kind of mind. You don't mind.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it is surprisingly fun. I did enjoy it, but yeah, it was one that I had to wait until everybody was out of the house, which this is what I was playing, and hoping feverishly that they wouldn't come back in forgetting something and say, "What are you doing, Dad?"
Yeah, explain that one.
So there you go, girls and boys. That is the 6 games that John chose. I think it was quite an interesting list and nice range of genres and games. And yeah, really, really good. I mean, John, is there any sort of other final mentions or any just quick nod that you want to shout out of anything?
There's a couple of games on there that I never put on there, like the Strikers games. I love, guys. If you haven't played them, you probably already have. But the Strikers games.
You mean the shooter, the 1940s?
Yeah. They're the go-to for me as well on those ones. But I did try to stray away from those ones as much as I can. But that would have been on the list.
Yeah. I mean, do you have if you got a PS4 or Nintendo Switch? Very good. I mean, obviously you can play them on MAME and things like that, but there's a variety of ones to buy. But if you like those shooters, those Sikio Alpha and Bravo, or Volume 1, 2 and 3, I think it's on PS4, they're very good collections. If you like those sort of shooters, because it's got literally all the best ones, including on the Bravo, or I think it's Volume 3, I think, on the PS4. Don't know why they do different names. It has the Gunbird 1 and 2 as well. So that, but of course, what's nice is you get all the extras. You get the leaderboards and things like that on those. So quite cool.
Yeah, what's that one called? Sorry, that list.
Yeah, the Sikio Alpha. Well, the one I've got it on is the Switch, which is Sikio Alpha and Bravo. They're quite pricey. Okay. But I got them in a mega sale, so just perhaps put it on your wish list. Have you got a Switch or only a PS?
I haven't, mate. No. But,
well, I think it's on the PS because you got Sony, haven't you? You got a PS4.
Yeah, I've got a PS4, PS5. So I can grab it on there then.
Yeah, I think it's called the CKO Collection Volume 1 and 2, and I think the third one actually only came out in Japan, again from memory. But I think you get less games on the Sony one. Anyway, look into it. But they're if you really love those games and you want leaderboards and all of that crud on top,
I'll give that a look then, because I'm going to look at Antstream after this as well. Give that a look.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they got the Striker ones on there as well. So
brilliant. Okay, I'll give that a look.
To our listeners, if I've managed to sell it to you lot as well, check out. I'm on the Retro Drisk, I think is my Xbox name. So also that will be the same name for Antstream as well. So if you wanted to sort of add me as a friend, so because I think what you said, John, is actually quite a cool idea. If we did a friend group of listeners and see if we can beat each other, that would be a lot of fun, isn't it, John?
So make a little channel in the Discord there, and maybe
definitely
got it, jump into it and go from there. Really build it up.
I mean, a lot of our listeners don't have the Xbox, unfortunately, but for those who do, be awesome. It'd be awesome.
Definitely.
Because it's. I mean, you can join. It is joined to the PC on the leaderboards and things, so you could do it on PC. But I do find Antstreams, as you mentioned, it's. Admittedly, I'm like you. I haven't tried it for a long while, but it was too laggy.
Yeah, very laggy.
Yeah, it's not really doable. Although I haven't said that, when I watch some of the leaderboards, because you can switch between anybody on Antstream or Xbox, and the real high scorers are always on the PC. So maybe they can beat the lag, or they can hack it.
Maybe
a
they've
bit.
got maybe they're doing like a APM mode or something like that. Who knows?
Oh, I don't know, all these sort of things.
Oh, that's basically like airplane mode, where basically you can, in certain games, you can use APM to kind of get around the lag, or use the lag to your advantage.
Yeah.
Because you go in some of these games and the leaderboards are just like obviously hacked in some way, and it's like it takes all the fun out of it completely, doesn't it? So
Yeah,
hopefully that's not the case.
No, it's not the case. But
yeah.
I hope you enjoy it if you do try it. I mean, you can deride me and mock me if you don't enjoy it. But I'll be, as I say, selfishly, it'd be cool having people I know on there like yourself. Just have friendly competitions.
I'll go grab it tonight and I'll have a look, and I'll add you straight away, mate. Definitely.
That's awesome. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed. It's at least been a much shorter episode. Although we are sort of like coming up to, well, yeah, this is perfect length, really, isn't it? I think, I think about 103 minutes, just over 100 minutes. Not bad, really. But yeah, they're really good games. And like always, please, give these games a go. We love it when you're on Discord or however you reach out to us. And, it's always great when people, our listeners, such as yourself, try these games as well and give your views and your memories of these games, and even like some additional recommendations. We read them all, and it's great to know. And if you are listening on the YouTube, please consider clicking the like and the subscribe to us. It all helps the algorithm, and we are building up with more and more people interested, but it's still a long way to go, really. It's very difficult to get videos noticed, is always the case, but at least those who do come across it, they all love it, seemingly. So
yeah, that's what matters.
That's what matters. And I mean, I play these games. We always play all these games anyway, so it's not that much big an effort to the fact I recorded it and used the footage. So so awesome. Okay, well, until next time, keep it retro.
See you later, guys. Take care.